This is the Bottom Line Sports Show with Gerald Brown and Rick Mahorn.
Imagine you trade a Chet Holmgren for a Giannis Antetokounmpo.
These guys are athletic as you know what, and you go like, oh my gosh, where's the fundamentals? Where's the pass first mentality? That's not in the league anymore.
And now here's your host, Gerald Brown and Rick Mahorn.
Indeed, yes, indeed, yes, indeed, yes, indeed. You see who I am. You see what I am. And I say thank you so much for joining. I'm riding solo, but not really. Rick Mahorn, him and the missus, they're on vacation. He finally broke down and took his wife on a vacation for her birthday. So salute to Mrs. Mahorn. And I hope you really enjoy. All that great time y'all spending in Cleveland. And hey, listen. Again, without further ado, and I want to say first and foremost, you know what? I've known this gentleman for quite some time. He is what you consider a great person. And I'm not saying this because of the fact that he's here right now, but you know what? A quality individual, besides one of the greatest basketball players, one of the greatest point guards ever, an individual that I call a friend. He's so giving of his time, and it really, really means a lot. And all he does is try to help people in so many ways. He is the head men's basketball coach at the University of Memphis, NBA legend, Mr. Penny Hardaway.
My man, G Money, man. I appreciate you, brother. How's everything?
Hey, man, give me another option, I like to say, man. You see your jersey up there and stuff like that.
I appreciate that.
Always. Penny, I got to ask you first and foremost, let's start, man. How are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. I've had an unbelievable offseason. Picked up a really, really good roster, and I'm super excited, man.
Yeah, that's good. With the whole stuff that's going on, obviously coaching college basketball, really don't get a chance to really dive deep into the NBA. And obviously this postseason is taking place during the course of the college basketball season. The New York Knicks, they are in the NBA Finals. You are a former Knick. As much as people will sit back and say you associate, yes, you were with the Orlando Magic, but you spent time with the Knicks. First and foremost, before we get into that, I want to ask you, you played in the NBA Finals. What is that feeling like that you could really share for some of these players, specifically like Jalen Brunson and among others that haven't been there before? What can they look forward to, and what is it like?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm gonna go New York, go New York, go. I'm gonna say that first.
Yeah.
Because I had 83 games in that jersey, man, and I just hate that I wasn't healthy enough to be the guy that I needed to be for that city. But I'm super happy, man, that the Knicks are in the finals, man. That city deserves they showed me so much love, bro. So I'm just gonna say that first. But as far as Jalen Brunson, I mean, he's a winner, man. Those guys are winners. They've won on the collegiate level. It's the same on the NBA level, bro. You got to take it. You got to take advantage of your opportunities. I was there one time, didn't take advantage of my opportunity, and never got back there. So you got to play it like you'll never get back. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals. What was it, semifinals or finals last year?
Eastern Conference Finals last year.
Eastern Conference Finals last year, and didn't get there. Then come back this year to get there. Man, enjoy the ride. Stay locked in. Like you said, Kobe said, work's not finished, work's not done. And stay locked in because you got to seize the moment while you have it.
Yeah. I heard on an interview, actually on Inside the NBA, and I think Shaq had referred to when you guys went there, the city of Orlando gave you guys a parade leading up to it, kind of like almost like a pep rally and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Again, I would associate that kind of what you would expect. So not really along those lines, but New York, because it hasn't won anything since 1970. And I say that with great respect and humility. But the excitement, and obviously New York means so much when the Knicks are doing good and stuff like that. What was that feeling like and being in that experience? Obviously, when you coming in playing against the Knicks when they were relevant with the Orlando Magic, talk about really just that Knick fan base and what we can really expect in terms of how they will handle the excitement of the NBA Finals.
Yeah, first of all, me as a player, man, I was just so crushed that I couldn't just perform at the highest level. That's what they deserve to see from me, my highest level, and I couldn't give it to them because I was injured. But they, like I said, they treated me with respect. I think Knicks fans will enjoy this like they did. As you can see, the entire fan base was going on the road. That's unusual. You usually have the fans of the Knicks. When I became a Knick and I went from city to city, man, you have more Knicks fans in any stadium around the country except for the Lakers. I think the Lakers and the Celtics were the only two towns where you get less Knicks fans, but you went to Miami, Orlando, anywhere else, it was more Knicks fans in the stands. And just seeing Fat Joe and and the boys just go around. Spike Lee, of course, going around, and then to see Allen Houston and all the former Patrick Ewing and all the former Knicks, Steph Marbury, who I played with there, traveling around. Man, this is like a thing. So they're enjoying every moment of it because it is a whole city's thing, not just the team.
Now you are, as I mentioned, a former Knick. Obviously, you say once a Knick, always a Knick. Any interest? And I know, obviously, with your schedule, with the transfer portal, recruiting, all of those different things, the kind of timing and stuff. But if it was the opportunity, do you have any plans on try perhaps attending an NBA
Man,
final?
I was thinking about hitting West. I was thinking about hitting Cap. Big Pat. I was thinking about hitting Allen Houston. I don't want to jump on any bandwagons, bro, but that's just, I've been rooting from afar. You know, if you know me, I still have my relationships with all of the Knicks guys that were there when I was there in the organization. And, you know, they, like I said, they were so good to me, man. I miss that city, but just so proud to see it. Even if I can't make it to a game, I'll try, whether it's on the road or at home, just to kind of get a piece of that, no matter where I sit, just to get that atmosphere, man, because this is history. Anytime the Knicks go, man, it's a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, switch over to the Western Conference and Victor Wembanyama and those San Antonio Spurs. You know, I look at them and I'd say they're kind of the exceptions to the rules. And they kind of, in a sense, somewhat remind me of you guys in terms of, you know, people always say, yeah, the rule of thumb is you got to go through some growing pains, but you have some anomalies. And you look back and you see a guy like Victor Wembanyama combined with some of that young talent that they have. How impressed have you been with the San Antonio Spurs, even though they're in a dogfight to get to the NBA Finals against the Thunder?
Yeah, I'm super impressed, man, with the Spurs because they put together an unbelievable roster of young talent. You couldn't have gotten better at either spot with all those guys, from Lil Harp, Dylan, and to get Stefan and those guys, even
De'Aaron
Fox.
Yeah.
Fox he's older, but he's not old.
Right.
And then of course Wemby and those guys. So at the end of the day, man, Pop and that management, they did a great job of getting those young guys. Those young guys are fighting hard. But the one thing I always remember when it comes to that series, when they won game one, you can never underestimate the heart of a champion, like Rudy Tomjanovich said against us and you guys. They beat you guys first, the Knicks, like, you know, in the championship, and then they came back the next year and beat us. So, you know, OKC is gonna be a tough out no matter who's on the floor.
Yeah. Shout out to Mateen Cleaves. If you're trying to win, tap in. He's checking out the show and stuff. Big shout out to Mateen Cleaves. You know, Penny.
Yeah, shout out to Mateen.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but I saw online 30 years. It's been 30 years to this day. It was 30 years ago this day. You and Shaq played your last game together. When you look back, obviously, it's always the what ifs. I know about the injuries and stuff that transpired with you, but what if you guys would have broken up and obviously Shaq going to LA? How many championships you think you would have won?
We definitely would have had one. I mean, I just know that would have just changed the trajectory of my career if he would have stayed. Obviously, it changed Kobe's trajectory because when Shaq got there, they won championships together. And Shaq just changed everyone's trajectory. Wherever he went, he won championships. So for me, if he stays, he's in his prime, I'm in my prime. We definitely win one.
Yeah. When you look at obviously performing in the playoffs, and I always say those are the big money games. Those are what you establish your legacy. And you had those opportunities where you played big against Michael Jordan. Obviously, when Shaq left, you took the load and really carried the Magic against the Heat. I think you averaged like 30 something. What is it like to play in those moments? And then, you know, we've seen players that unfortunately struggled, and no disrespect, there's been some players obviously that haven't been able to perform in those moments. What was it about for you to be able to perform in those moments and it looks so comfortable for you?
Yeah, I was born for those moments, man. That's just God just gave me that ability to be ready for the moment way before the moment came. You know, my preparation for a game, my preparation on my game was already ready to go kill mode, man. You got to play, you got to perform on the road and at home. Some of these guys are only playing well at home. That lets you know where they are. You know, there's different levels of this game. If you're only performing well at home, that just says who you are. But if you're doing it on the road and at home, then it tells you who you are as well. So for me, it was just a God-given ability that He gave me, man, to just have that knack to go destroy on the road. I didn't care if it was on the road or at home, bro. I didn't need to be at home. I would rather play on the road because
Mm.
I wanted to hear the crowd. I wanted to silence the crowd stepping in the arena, man, stepping on that court.
So it didn't matter who you were facing because obviously you really caught a lot of attention when you played against MJ and really performed and really, again, didn't show any type of slippage or anything. You just really were able to lock in because look, we look at a lot of guys and no disrespect, James Harden has really, really struggled in those moments. And it's not like somebody tries, but you, like you mentioned in terms of that, how did you make sure you didn't get caught up in saying that was MJ or that was this person?
Yeah, because I believed in myself. My confidence was so high. I just didn't think that there was anybody in the league that could stop me. That I was going to go out there and just have the mindset of, destroying everything that was in front of me. It didn't matter what the name was. So I don't understand how that works. You know, you're a perfectly healthy athlete, and you have this God-given ability, and you're one of the best in the world. It doesn't matter where you play. You should go and dominate.
Yeah. Penny, I want to ask you this, and obviously you've had an opportunity since you've been coaching college basketball, and you've done a damn good job in doing
Appreciate it.
so. And obviously you've encountered and really encountered a lot of people pushing back. But really, just talk about the fact is that you've been able to put guys into the NBA, and what does it mean to you in terms of seeing Jalen Duren in his development, and obviously the success that he had this season with the Detroit Pistons, among others?
Well, you know what? Former NBA players are frowned upon on this level because we're looked at as that we didn't go through the the process of being GA, assistant coach, and then build our way all the way up like a lot of these guys do. And I respect that to the utmost. But I went middle school, AAU, high school, grassroots, and then came into college, man. And first of all, it's a lot of hate because of that, because they really don't want NBA guys coaching on this level, and that's understood. But I feel like I've earned my stripes as a coach on this level with what I've done, and I'm definitely thankful to God to be able to have, because this is an unbelievable level. The NCAA is a lot of fun to coach, and I'm happy about that. It's just you just gotta keep pushing forward. But as far as Jalen Duren, man, I'm so proud of him because I knew he was destined for greatness. Jalen is the most unselfish superstar that I've ever met because he'll come off the bench if he has to. He'll do whatever it takes. He's always trying to make his teammates better. I'm sure after this playoff series and not making it to the championship, because he's all about championships, he's going to work on his game this summer and add things and be even better next year. And how can you top being an all-star other
Yeah.
than being a team guy and getting to the NBA Finals next year?
Yeah. When you look at the situation, obviously Precious Achua is a guy that he's played with the Sacramento Kings, and I talk to BJ Armstrong often, and he does nothing but rave about the professionalism of a Precious Achua. Out of the guys that you've been able to put in the NBA, which one has really surprised you the most with their continued development, or if any of those, all of those guys really impressed you with their development?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's two guys that come right out right away, and that's Musa Cisse and
Mm,
Josh Minot. Because Musa went through the ringer a little bit, man. He was here his freshman year, then he transferred to Oklahoma State, then he went to Ole Miss, then he came back to Memphis. Sometimes when you take that route, you don't get an opportunity. So that says a lot about Musa's hard work and his perseverance and who he is as a person to go and be with the Dallas Mavericks right now and doing extremely well. I'm really proud of Musa. And same thing with Josh Minot. Josh Minot would have been a lottery pick if he stays. He went second round to Minnesota, got traded to Boston, and is now with Brooklyn. I'm thinking it's with Brooklyn, but he's a guy that has so much talent that he just has to continue to grind and work. But those two guys, um, kind of shocked me on what they did, because Josh told me I'm going to make it to the league, and he did. But if he stayed one more year and plays his sophomore year, I'm sure he's lottery.
Yeah, Naquan Tomlin is a young man that came in from Kansas State middle of the season. And obviously when he's gotten his moments and stuff like that and played well in the summer league and made his way onto that roster and stuff like that, what did you like about his game in terms of just seeing him work that well? And it seems like it started, correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed like it started once he got to Memphis, where he just really was able to fit in such a short period of time and really have an impact. Are you surprised that he has been able to stick in the league and play very well with the Cleveland Cavaliers?
No surprises at all, man. That's why I didn't mention him as one of the guys I was shocked by making it. I knew Naquan was going to make it. He's so skilled. He does so many different things. He's very agile. He can handle the ball. He can score it at the highest level. He'll block shots. He'll rebound. He can be a playmaker. I mean, he can do a lot of things, man. His growth in the game is only going to get better and better every year.
Yeah. Somebody asked the question: how did you stay? Jordan asked, how did you stay focused during your career with all the distractions on the court as well as off the court that can come with being, a superstar?
Yeah, I stayed focused because I wanted to be the best. Until I started having injuries, my mindset was to always be the best. And to be the best, you got to stay locked in and stay focused, man, and not be sidetracked by anything off the court. Obviously, our teams went to clubs. We went out. We did all the stuff that young guys do, but it wasn't overkill. It wasn't anything that was going to damage the night before the game or the game itself, or even disrespect the game of basketball and how we approached it. So, for me, my mindset stayed on kill mode all the time, and wanted to be the best guard in the world while I was in the league. So I didn't get distracted too easily. I put basketball first in my career.
Yeah. Penny, a couple more before I let you get on out of here. And I really appreciate the time, man. As always, it was during the course of the season and you had a moment where you got emotional and got choked up in terms of just how you really wanted to win. And obviously we all got a chance to see that. Do you think people from that moment got an opportunity to understand how much the University of Memphis, the city of Memphis, means to you, and how much and how well you want this school institution and program to do? Do you think people finally realize that?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. I think that was a rare moment, but an honest moment. When you love something as much as I love basketball. I love the city of Memphis and the University of Memphis. You're gonna get hurt. And my feelings, I was in my feelings at that moment of, it was more, disappointment, and then it turned to anger because, at the University of Memphis, we don't lose 6-7 games in a row. We don't lose a lot of games in a row. And that was just part of a string of games that we were losing in a row, and it was getting frustrated. But as the leader, I had to snap out of it and just keep trying to fight. But at that moment, at that time, it was after we lost to South Florida, man, and they were the big dogs in the league, and we were just the big dogs the year before. It kind of weighed on me a little bit, and it hit me in that moment. But it was just true feelings at the time, man, about how I love this game, how I love the city of Memphis, and how I love the University of Memphis, and this is where it was.
Do you ever think that you'll get the respect and credit you deserve for what you have done and accomplished thus far as a coach at the University of Memphis?
I think that a lot of the coaches around the country do. Maybe not the beat writers of the, maybe not those guys. But if you look at my record and how I've done it, then yeah, if they look at it for the body of work and not for what's happened with all the noise that came out of Memphis with the NCAA stuff and fair or unfair, at the end of the day, I put my hard work in. I've respected this game at the highest level, at the utmost and the highest level. I've tried to push this game forward as a former NBA guy on this level. So I'm hoping that guys will respect that I am a coach and that I can take a program to another level. And that's what I'm trying to do now.
Yeah. How much with obviously the landscape of college basketball is changing. I've often said sometimes people just don't realize the dynamics that have taken place. If you're not one of those power 3, 4 conference schools, the money is there. And I'm happy. I think we obviously speak for you. We're happy that the kids are getting their money, but it's only so much that people can sit back and say, and really it's like free agency. How much do you lean on your NBA experience in terms of now with the NIL and negotiating and going through that process?
Yeah, I've actually taken myself out of the fold, but I do understand it because of the free agency style that we're in right now in college with the NIL. We have a GM. He does a phenomenal job, but I try to stay out of the number side of it. But I do draw from my situation and how I negotiated with teams when I was in the league, and now as a coach. That's how it works, and it's just a part of the game right now, man. That you have to accept and that you have to play that game. And you just got to hope you're on the positive side of it and not the negative side of it.
Yeah, hey, Penny, in closing, you're an avid golfer, man, and obviously playing basketball at the highest level and encountering injuries and stuff. What is it about golf that really just consume former athletes? Is it something that, again, you're just not able to control it? That's what keeps you so engaged into it? Because I like it, but I can understand. And one thing, I got my experience by being around, going to different golf tournaments with you, and I just didn't understand, but it is like understanding, like now seeing how much it means to former athletes. For yourself, what is it about the game of golf that keeps you so locked in? Is it just that the fact that you can't, accomplish, you can't conquer it, or is it something a little bit more than that?
No, it's exactly what you just said. It's because you can't own it. It's different every day because of the elements, because of the grass, because of the wind, because of the elements outside, the temperatures. I think we play it because you cannot own the game, and that chase to try to own a game that you can't own is what drives us. That drove us to be the best at what we did. Everything came so easy to us in our sport that golf doesn't come easy, and if you work at it, you'll be better. But that's what drives us every single day to try to beat par, man. Try to beat 72, 71, or 70.
Yeah. And wrapping up, who do you have in the NBA Finals, and who do you have winning it all?
Obviously, the Knicks are already there, but I don't. I'm just gonna go with the champions, man. It's gonna be hard to beat the champions. When they took back over the home court advantage, I think that the young team, the Spurs, couldn't handle that. Not saying that the Spurs can't, but I'm just gonna go with the champions on getting to. I think the Spurs have one more year. If they end up making it to the finals, I would not be surprised. But I'm going with the champions, even though they're injured, and I have the Knicks winning it overall.
Do you have the Knicks winning? Oh my God! Oh my God! I was about to say, Penny, that'd be unbelievable. Hey, listen, Penny, really, really appreciate it, man. Definitely enjoy this off season, and obviously really take that time and really take a moment to breathe and enjoy yourself. I know you got your basketball camp coming up. I'm coming down there to hang out with you and stuff. And
I'm down, brother.
And listen, appreciate you, brother. Nothing but love for you, man.
All love, my man.
All that you do.
No, thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Penny Hardaway. My man right there. My man, 100 grand. So I want to just say this, and I think the biggest thing is, and appreciate everybody that's been tuning in, and make sure you subscribe to the show. Definitely appreciate that. I've often said, I've known Penny for years, and I'll call it how I see it and say, if they had a bad season, yeah, he doesn't sugarcoat that. They had a bad season. But to endure what he went through was totally, totally unfair. And what I mean by that is, you have to understand the landscape of college basketball when he came in. When he came in, you had Cincinnati, Houston, University of Central Florida. You had all of these schools in this conference that even then you would take maybe two schools at best to make the NCAA tournament. And then they migrate to Big 12 and big greener pastures. And Memphis is there trying to get into different conferences and a lot of things behind the scenes. And then in that process, the landscape of college basketball changes where now it becomes NIL. And now you're talking about big budgets. And at the end of the day, I say this respectfully, sometimes as fans, yeah, we want to win and we upset when the teams don't win. But at the end of the day, you got to understand where you are in the landscape. And honestly, where they are right now, they have to go out and schedule at least a top 10, top 20 schedule and play some of the top teams just to be able to get into the NCAA tournament and, better yet, get a decent seed. And all he's done is gone there and has tried to put a quality product out there. He doesn't duck playing people and all that stuff. And it just really, really shocks me and surprised me that people out there were really adamant about getting rid of him. Oh, they should fire him. Who do you think is going to take the job? And better yet, if anybody takes the job, the moment they have some success, they're going on to greener pastures. They're going to get the big money. Look at the South Florida coach. He made it to the NCAA tournament. They didn't even win the game in the NCAA tournament. He left to go to Providence. So it becomes a revolving door. And I know he wouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it. You will only appreciate Coach Hardaway when he's gone. And unfortunately, that is the name of the game. But you can forget about a school, a coach, having success, staying at a school for 9 years, which he's had. And I don't want to hear about, oh, he's had all these coaches, all this. He's won. He's won. He's won. We're going to see the landscape of college basketball turn around so much this upcoming year with the implementation of more teams. Like, don't fool yourself. And I had said this before. Gary DeCease had come on the show. Don't fool yourself to think that once they add more school, to add more slots for the NCAA tournament, it becomes now you're going to get all the Coastal Carolinas, the High Point. No. That means they're just going to take more schools from the top tier conferences, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and maybe the ACC. Big East got one school, 2 schools in there. Big East, 2. UConn and St. John's, and UConn was the Cinderella. Remember, there was a time when Cinderella was Virginia Commonwealth. Cinderella was George Mason. All that doesn't exist anymore. But nevertheless, really appreciate Penny coming on there. Thank you so much, obviously. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, G Brown Sports. G Brown Sports. Follow. So the Knicks, they are in the NBA Finals, and I'm elated. I had my jacket on last time, and you know what? A round of applause for this. Round of applause. But here's the thing, and I had said this on the little snippets I do called The Day After. The Knicks in the NBA Finals comes at a pivotal time for the NBA. Okay? When you look at the landscape of the NBA, the league guard, if you will, the guy that carries the league, the number one guy, that was LeBron James. And now it's starting to fade out. Some people say it's Nikola Jokic, starting to fade out. That guy isn't there anymore. And right now, when you have the Knicks being relevant, you have the Knicks in a big market, the media capital, and you have them relevant, now that allows an opportunity for business, for the NBA to say, okay, you know what? We can put the Knicks in there. We can trust in the Knicks because guess what? Until Victor Wembanyama is ready and the San Antonio Spurs, he's ready to take over. We all know he's going to be the guy. But at the end of the day, this is good for the business of the NBA when you have the Knicks as relevant as possible. And I think that means a lot in terms of just having them available to be that team there. So I think it's great. It's great. The city is bubbling, okay? It's going to be bananas. And all that I keep saying is, and I said this on Mad Dog Sports Radio this past weekend, I said, Knick fans, let's make sure we take a page out of Barry Sanders' book, where you act like, remember when you get in the end zone, he never did any dancing. He never did any of that stuff at all. He said, I wanted to act like I've been there before. In fact, his father said, act like you've been there before. And that is the thing that, you know, at the end of the day, yes, the Knicks have been there in the 90s. I get it. But at the end of the day, let's celebrate responsible. Because the celebration had started. The Knicks got to the NBA Finals. People were going crazy. And it's great. It's great. But I believe that, obviously, just like Penny Hardaway said, he thinks that the Knicks are going to win it all. I second that motion. I believe that they will win the NBA championship. And the interesting thing about it is, what will the city look like with the Knicks in a space where they're the NBA champion? I tell you this, if you ever want to think about how that would be and how it's going to be, not counting the chickens before they hatch, but just go back and look at the joy and jubilation in Major League Baseball when the Chicago Cubs finally won a World Series. Go back and look at the joy and jubilation when the Boston Red Sox finally won a World Series, reversed the curse. You know, it's so much generations upon generations. And it's going to be something that is going to be a spectacle. I've said before, you know, when you look at Jalen Brunson, he's perhaps the greatest free agent the Knicks have ever signed in the history. I stand by that. When you look at this organization, they figured it out. Everything is working out, and that's why they're good for business. But one thing I would say to NBA Governor James Dolan, and I know that so much we see all the players, and the saying is once a Knick, always a Knick. Yeah, that's great. But Charles Oakley needs to be there. Oak needs to be there, and Oak should be there to be a part of the festivities when the games come to New York for games 3 and 4. I know it's a lot. It's so much going on. And I remember when Mark Messier came to New York for the Rangers, and they had this presentation in which they were simulating burying the hatchet. Now, obviously, this was very egregious, right? On both fronts. It was very egregious. But what better time would it be to bury the hatchet and have Charles Oakley in the Garden and being a part of, you know, all the festivities associated with the NBA Finals? I think it would be phenomenal. I think it would be something that would be, you know, beloved. And so much, you know, in terms of what James Dolan has endured, good, bad, or indifferent. I think winning, getting this close, and having all this feel good. Can you imagine what level it goes to with Charles Oakley being a part of it and they win a championship? I just think that again. And, you know, Oak is a prideful person, you know, and rightfully so. But that man put his blood, sweat, and tears into the Knicks organization. And I just hope that somewhere, somehow, a meeting of the minds could take place and let Charles Oakley be a part of the festivities that will take place in games 3 and 4. I mean, he was in Cleveland watching the games, and that's what he has done, you know, still supporting the Knicks. And, you know, I think there were some issues and obviously mistakes made on both parts. But nevertheless, it would be unbelievable if Charles Oakley was able to be there and be a part of the festivities moving forward. As I mentioned, Rick Mahorn is on vacation. So, you know, he'll be back soon, and we're getting ready for the NBA Finals. But the biggest thing is now, who is going to be there? Thunder and Spurs are set to do battle on Thursday in Game 6. And I don't know. I think clearly right now, we're going to learn a lot about the San Antonio Spurs, right? Yes, they might need another year, but at this point right now, no. When you have Wembanyama there, and I think the biggest thing right now is being able to stay consistent. And I had said before, Victor Wembanyama is a guy that he's one of the rare NBA players in the league currently that he doesn't have to score 30, 40, right? He doesn't have to do that. He can dictate and affect the game on both ends simply because what he has done defensively, he makes you go to a plan B with your offense. And what he has done is give the Thunder credit. They've shot the ball very well. They have played very well, and they've gotten their role players, the others, to really step up in the midst of injuries to Jalen Williams and Daniels. And, you know, it would be very telling, but there's going to be a lot of pressure to see if the Thunder can close them out, because we all know that once you have a team down, you don't want to give them any light. But I do expect this thing to go back to San Antonio and be in a space where we will be looking at a game 7 on Saturday. And it's good for business. I mean, can you imagine if the series is wrapped up and you have nothing on this weekend after Memorial Day weekend, for the most part, at least in the Northeast and all up and down the North, you had rain, soggy weather. It would be tremendous. It would be tremendous if we could have a game 7 on Saturday, and then you have just Sunday, and then you have the NBA Finals starting on Wednesday and have all the buildup. One thing I will say, if anything, kudos to Commissioner Adam Silver. My little pet peeve in closing is I wish that Commissioner Silver and the great people at the NBA, and I know that it's more moving parts, but it would have made so much sense to have the NBA Finals on a Saturday or Sunday. Now, I do understand more, forget about Sunday, but I understand that we're starting the finals on a Wednesday. That means you're going to have a game on Friday. Sunday NBA Finals games, unless you're starting them at 6, 7, 8 o'clock, it doesn't really work, you know. If you would have had a game somewhere a Thursday and a Saturday, you know what? That does so well for the ratings, and especially when you're talking about people at bars, the nightlife, all those things were so tremendous and factor in. But nevertheless, beggars can't be choosy. You got a game 2 that's going to be on Friday night, and then after that, as the series goes on, hopefully it's a long extended series, unless the Knicks sweep. It will be games on those different days, but it is a really, really challenging prospect. Listen, really appreciate Mr. Penny Hardaway for checking the show, joining me here, and appreciate you for checking out the show. You know, a lot of the times, so much has come along. Our podcasting has come so far, right? Streaming, all this stuff has come so far. And the one thing that I understand about this process is that, look, if you want to be popular, you got to do something crazy. You got to say something crazy. You want to be, the hit, the next big thing, you got to say something crazy. And I speak for Rick. I know I can speak for myself. I'm not interested in that. Sports is supposed to be about something unifying people. Sports talk should be the same way. It brings everybody together. Let's talk about our sports. We can agree to disagree. And I'm not interested in going crazy and all that stuff, but we can have what we consider barbershop talk. That's how the Bottom Line Sports Show was built and formed. And it has a following. It's had success. Appreciate you, Shaw. It's had a lot. It had a lot. And I'm not going to revert from that. All that we ask, continue to support the product. If you're tuning in for the first time, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube, as well as follow me, G Brown Sports, on Instagram, and the original Gerald Brown on X. And, we'll just continue to give you quality product. Continue to give you quality product that will make you think and really appreciate the game and tell it like it is. Like the great Cedric Cornbread Maxwell say, keep it real. For Rick Mahorn, I'd like to thank also for Penny Hardaway. I'm Gerald Brown. Thank you so much. Shout out to Leah Polanco and all the wonderful kids. Tune in and stuff like that. Shout out to all of them. But more importantly, we'd like to thank you for tuning in. Enjoy Game 6. NBA Finals next week. Definitely got a bunch of people lined up. We'll keep you posted. We back on next Tuesday. Bottom Line Sports Show's out. Peace.